We now get to the main hypothesis, which is that open-minded cognition does vary across specific situations and that it's malleable. We specifically tested this by looking at the Tenable message hypothesis. We argue that in some situations, what we call open situations, people encounter a tenable message. This means people encounter viewpoints that do not blatantly contradict mainstream values. In other situations, people find themselves in what we call a closed situation, containing untenable messages. This would be a situation where an individual encounters untenable viewpoints that involve extremely unrealistic claims. For example, the claim that homosexuality caused Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Or when people encounter statements that blatantly contradict mainstream values. For example, if speakers are all arguing that minority group members should not be permitted to immigrate. The message tenability effect is pretty obvious. In some sense, it is the elephant in the living room when it comes to understanding variation in situation-specific open-minded cognition, although has never been empirically documented. The message tenability effect is basically that situation-specific open-minded cognition will be higher when you're in a situation where you're exposed to predominantly tenable messages than when you're in a situation where you're exposed to predominantly untenable messages. So, in order to test this hypothesis, we performed an experiment. Half of the people were presented with an open situation containing a tenable message, which was to assume you're listening to a panel discussion in which panelists provide reasons why all U.S. citizens should be permitted to vote. The closed situation, the other half of the participants were presented with, was assume you're listening to a panel discussion in which panelists argue that ethnic minority members should be denied the right to vote. This is pretty much outside mainstream democratic values within the United States. After being exposed to either the open or the closed situation, individuals indicated the extent to which one should be open-minded in the situation, and then also indicated the extent to which they, or in this case I, would be open in this situation. As predicted, when assessing the should ratings, we can see that the predicted effect emerged. People indicated that one should be more open-minded in the tenable message or open situation than in the closed situation, which is marked in red in this slide. Also, as predicted, when we looked at how they personally would respond in the situation, individuals indicated that they personally would be more open-minded in the tenable message or open situation than in the untenable message or closed situation. And furthermore, consistent with the flexible merit standard model, mediational analyses confirmed that the situational cue, in this case, whether you're exposed to an untenable or tenable message, influenced situation-specific open-minded normative perceptions, that is, the one should ratings, which in turn causally influenced situation-specific open-minded cognition, that is, the I would ratings, and we didn't want to just show it for one issue. So we did this 18 times in a follow-up experiment. Some of these issue pairs were political in nature, some were religious in nature, and some captured other topics. Here's a religious example. The tenable or open message condition. Individuals were asked to imagine that they encountered panelists discussing many reasons why individuals belong to religious groups, including forming social ties, exploring spirituality, honoring family tradition, and so on. In the untenable or closed message condition, individuals were asked to imagine you encounter members of a religious group who claim that in order to be saved from hell, one must give up their possessions and join their church in Montana, which, for those of you who don't live in the United States, is a somewhat remote area of the United States. For the one should ratings, in 17 of 18 issue pairs, we obtained the predicted effect. So the effect is really quite robust. People tend to indicate that one should be open-minded in the open or tenable message condition more so than in the closed or untenable message condition. All 18 of the issue pairs revealed the tenable message effect when we looked at I personally would be open-minded in the particular situation. And In 17 of 18 of those issue pairs, we obtained that confirmation of the mediational effect. So in conclusion, the situation-specific open-minded measures are both structured as a single bipolar dimension ranging from closed-minded to open-minded cognition. Situation-specific open-minded cognition is associated with unbiased information selection. Open-minded cognition varies across specific situations, and in particular, varies across situations that differ in terms of message tenability. This is the message tenability effect that we've demonstrated, perhaps the most fundamental effect of the situation on open-minded cognition, measured at the situation-specific level. And then finally, mediational analyses confirmed. In accordance with the flexible merit standard model, the situational cue determine normative perceptions of open-mindedness, which in turn determine situation-specific open-minded cognition.